Hi, this is Vincent, and welcome to Right of Way, a vlog about traffic, transport, and road safety. Elections are over, thankfully, and in a month's time, the members of the 18th Congress will take their seats. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about legislation. Legislation that I think might help in the area of traffic, transport, and road safety, with a particular emphasis on road safety, because I don't think there's enough effort to really address the problems of safety on our roads. In the 17th Congress, we did have the Anti-Distracted Driving Act, and I think that's a pretty good law to really stop people, motorists especially, from using the electronic devices while they're driving, because it really is a dangerous thing to do. Going forward, however, as we look at the 18th Congress, I think there are several pieces of legislation, several laws I think might be helpful when we talk about traffic, transport, and road safety. One of the first things I think we should do is perhaps update Republic Act 4136, which is the Land Transportation and Traffic Code. Republic Act 4136 dates back to 1964, so it's 55 years old. And it was meant to not only create the Land Transportation Commission, but also harmonize some of the existing laws with regards to car registration, road safety, etc. And the law is, I think, a bit outdated. I think it has to be updated because in the last 55 years there have been many advances in technology as far as road vehicles are concerned and as far as transport is concerned. In fact, if you look at RA 4136, it refers to passenger vehicles, are vehicles that use pneumatic tires. I mean, I don't know when the last time was I heard the term pneumatic tires, but that's so Old Testament. So I think it's perhaps time to update 4136 and take into account some of the modern advances in automotive technology. The second piece of legislation I think that should be enacted is the creation of a government agency whose primary responsibility is really to investigate and collect data on road crashes. As it stands today, there's no single agency in government that does this. The DPWH used to have its TARAS, which is, I forget what it stands for, the Traffic Analysis and Recording System or something. And then the MMDA has its MARAS, which is the counterpart for Metro Manila, which is the Metro Manila Accident Reporting Analysis System. Both of these suffer from a couple of problems. First, on the DPWH side, the TARAS was discontinued in 2014-2015. So the DPWH isn't collecting crash information from the National Road Network anymore. On the MMDA side, the MARAS is really only confined, as you can imagine by its title, to traffic crashes in Metro Manila. And it's not responsible for collecting data outside Metro Manila. So there's a big gaping hole in terms of crash data. And I think without this kind of information, without this kind of data, we really can't enact road safety laws or road safety policies that are responsive to what's happening out on our roads and on our streets. The third piece of legislation I think that should be enacted is a law that finally standardizes nationwide through all kinds of roads, national roads, provincial roads, city municipal roads, and even barangay roads, that standardizes our road signs and pavement markings. As I've spoken about previously in a previous episode, the DPWH does have its road signs and pavement markings manual, but unfortunately the manual only applies to the National Road Network. And it doesn't apply to provincial, city, municipal, or barangay roads. So what we have is a situation where the local governments are free to make whatever signs they please and whatever pavement markings they please. And therefore, what we see on the road is really a confusion of signs, different styles, different uses of color, different shapes, And if we want our drivers to be able to look at road signs and recognize them immediately, then road signs and pavement markings have to be uniform and consistent throughout the country. And so I think a law that mandates that all government agencies and instrumentalities that are responsible for the road network should abide by a given set of standards. It seems silly to be saying it, but that's the situation we're in. And the last piece of legislation that I think might be helpful, and I've seen a lot of people talk about it on social media, and that is to require government officials to take public transportation regularly, whether it's once a week or once a month. I tend to agree with that sentiment, especially when regards to senior officials of government and officials that are working in the agencies that have to do with the road network and transport. So we're talking primarily Department of Transportation and all its attached agencies, and Department of Public Works and Highways and all its attached agencies, to get the senior officials to ride public transportation on a regular basis. Again, whether it's once a week, once a month, I think that's up to the legislation. But the point is that senior government officials in these agencies should really learn to appreciate what it's like to be a commuter. We've spoken about it previously on this vlog, that about 80% of the people on the roads of Metro Manila are taking some form of mass transit. But what I've noticed, is that a lot of transport policy, a lot of traffic policy revolves around motorists and making things more convenient and easy for motorists. And these are only 20% of the vehicles on the road, or rather, they're only conveying 20% of the people, but they occupy 80% of the roadway. So by getting government officials to take public transport regularly, hopefully they gain an appreciation of what it's like to be a commuter, and therefore they can make policy that's more responsive to the 80% of the people in urban areas that are taking public transportation. So these are some of the things, these are some of the pieces of legislation that I thought might be helpful going forward for the 18th Congress. It's not a comprehensive list. There are still many more things that could be done in the area of traffic transport and road safety as far as legislation is concerned. But these are some of the quick ones that just are rolled off the top of my head. If you guys have any ideas about other pieces of legislation that you'd like to see, leave comments, and let's have a discussion on it. So that's it. These are my 4 pieces of legislation that I think the 18th Congress should consider. Well, that's it. We're at the end of another episode. If you have any comments, questions, photos, or videos that you'd like to share with us, you can email us at rightofway@rappler.com, or you can send us a message on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at rightofwayph. Until then, this is Vincent, and I'm out of here. Stay safe on the road, guys.